I'm sorry for the delay, Gregg and Josie. How are you?
Oh no, I actually messed it up,
Yeah,
and
we
I
messed
thought
up too. We
I
just
thought
got
we
in
were
here.
delayed. Sorry. Okay, there we go.
Oh, no. I'm the one who's late. You guys are off the hook. You guys are just
We,
No,
fine.
no,
we were also late.
No, this is a Canadian standoff. We're apologizing.
We're sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I'm more sorry than you're sorry.
Oh, your sorry is really idiot too.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Yeah. There's a lot of and I kind of joke about it. There's a lot of my buddies who've now moved to Nashville, and it's very interesting because 5 or 6 years of living in Nashville, and the drawl comes out, and man, it's great to be here on Country 105 here in Calgary. It's like, hey, I know where you're from. Like, don't do that.
We went to school together. We
Yeah.
didn't talk like that.
Canadian sorry guy.
You know what else I've noticed? Unless my sister's just like this, people in America don't hold doors as much as people in Canada, or is that just a thing for one person?
Oh no, they don't. I do it all the time, and my kids are doing it, which is really cute to have a little 4-year-old Leo hold it up at a Cracker Barrel in Nashville for a grandma and a grandpa coming in for bacon and eggs. You know what I mean? Leo did that out in October when we were down there for the fall, living at our home in Nashville, and he held the door for a grandma and grandpa, and he said, "Have a great day," as they were walking in, and they ended up buying our breakfast for our entire family, which we got a herd of children now. We have a lot of kids, and this grandma and grandpa, they bought our breakfast at a Cracker Barrel because my son was so polite.
Yeah, but the thing with kids is when they know something works, they'll do it over. So now he's just going to doors randomly, opening for people like, "Can I have a free meal?"
I know.
That couple was probably also all those kids are yours? Oh, never mind. Never mind.
Exactly. They bit off a little bit more than they can chew. Yeah, but you're right about that, Greg. Like, kids, once they get a little bit of a validation for something, they definitely like to milk it a little bit. And my kids are just the way that I was as a kid. So I can see that a little bit, but you know what? If it's the polite stuff, I'll ride it out as long as I can.
Are you milking the validation you've been getting over your new album?
I'm more surprised by it than maybe I've ever been in my career. Like, when you release an album, when you're part of a really extraordinary team, like when I was part of our Warner Music family for 10 years, I know that there's a certain level that we can achieve together because we have such an extraordinary machine and so much muscle behind us. But doing this now independently with a much smaller team, still a mighty team, but a much smaller team, I'm realizing that, wow, you can't take this stuff for granted.
So are you going to never eat soggy wieners, this thing? And if so, is West coming next? Is it East? Is it North?
Hi, Josie, your face was the best on that. I'm not exactly following the Northeast Southwest, never eat shredded wheat, never eat soggy wieners. For me, I am going to go to the East project, which will come out in late March. After that, in June, I think right around the time I play the Strathmore Rodeo in late June, the West album is going to come out. And then right around the good old Canadian Country Music Awards, the North album, which is like that greatest hits, the live record that I'm releasing, that'll come out in September. So that's our schedule.
So it has nothing to do with the Kardashian children's names. It's all completely directional.
It's all, even though my wife loves the show, it is all directional. And I looked at my wife, and I swear I was the one who said it before the meme went viral years ago. I said that Kanye and Kim are missing out on a great opportunity to name their next child Wild, because it should have been Wild West.
Wow.
And that would have been the most Calgary name that there's ever been. And I'm very disappointed that they didn't do that.
So one of my favorite things that I've ever seen was when the Foo Fighters did their album, and they had basically they moved to a city and they wrote a song. So they wrote a song in Nashville that was Nashville themed, Seattle that was Seattle themed. Is that what you like? Is the South project because you did it all in Nashville, and then that's how you're going to correspond all the other stuff?
Good question.
Great question. Very much so. in that vein of understanding the creative spirit and what you can really achieve when you're in that specific territory. So for me, the South album really is a tip of my hat to Nashville and the vibe of Music Row, all of the great songwriters there, how you record your records, how forward thinking Nashville is. So a lot of these songs, I think, encompass, pardon the pun, what's great about Music City. So the South album is exactly that. Whereas the West album is something that we did record. We had to record that in Calgary. We had to record some of these songs in a true Western way. And when I say Western way, I'm talking like authentic traditional country. I'm talking about smoking a dart and shooting some whiskey and recording at 11 p.m. instead of trying to be, all like professional about this. It's like, how did Johnny Cash and Buck Owens record records in the 60s? Well, this is probably how they did it. So that's how we did it.
It was great.
And I make no bones about it.
I know you can drink whiskey, but I can't see you smoking a cigarette. So it's like you, for the first time, this is great. Yeah, I really.
Oh, come on. Come on.
Oh my God. I like to smoke a cigar on my birthday, but it wrecks my voice. So there's a couple songs that I needed something a little bit deeper, and I needed to have a little bit of rasp. So I wish I was cool like Jade Eagleson and I could have that beautiful, beautiful low voice. But I mean, he's got great hair, chiseled jaw, 6-pack, and he smokes darts and drinks whiskey. I'm like, if only I was that cool. But I was that cool for a couple of songs. I actually did hack a dart down before I recorded, a couple specific songs.
Oh, no
but
way.
Yeah, it didn't last, because you're right, Greg. I was hacking up a lung and realizing, yeah, this isn't going to work out for me. This really isn't. I have more of a Vince Gill high voice than I do, a beautiful Jade Eagleson, silky, smooth baritone. I'm very jealous of Jade Eagleson.
That's
so
funny.
Let's talk about animosity. When you brought us on stage, we had to pay off our bet, and we had beer cans thrown at us on stage with you at Cowboys. I've never experienced that in my life.
That was the first time I realized that Greg might come to my rescue if I needed it. Like, he was swatting my face. I was like, oh gosh, this shit
guys, you know what? We have to find somewhere on Instagram. There's got to be a clip of it. Like, I am so sorry I did that to you. I actually thought it was going to be all in good fun. I actually thought you guys were going to get a couple boos, and then everybody's going to be like, that's fine. We love Gregg and Josie. We still love Brett Kissel. It took me like 5 songs to bring the crowd back in. I actually thought there was going to be a mass exodus at Cowboys, thinking there were drunk people deciding like, I am done with Brett Kissel. He likes the Oilers, and he put an Oilers jersey in Calgary on our favorite morning show. We're done with this guy. Like, I learned a very valuable lesson. Like, I shouldn't have screwed around with this. Like, I'm sorry. It was amazing. And I mean, I know you're recording this, but Calgary is actually an amazing city. There's no denying this. Like, I love Edmonton, but I think Calgary is I think it's the best city in Canada.
Wow.
I want to talk about a couple of songs on the album. We've got the single, of course, Never Have I Ever. I want to talk about That's Just You, because I don't know if it's my brain tricking myself, but did you sneakily add in like some of your old lyrics and song titles in there to see if any massive Brett Kissel fans would pick up on that?
So very interesting, Greg. Very much so. I was very particular about finding certain nuances, even certain sounds. We sampled some of the sounds too from our song Airwaves that we brought into That's Just You. I call it ear candy, and it's this little ting, 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 ting up at the top. So I'm hoping that it has a little bit of familiarity for the Brett Kissel fans that are really passionate about following my career. So yes, That's Just You has a lot of those hidden Taylor Swift style Easter eggs in it.
Love it.
It was fun. I was like, hold on a second here.
I also don't want to get too off track, because we do have a couple more things, obviously, that we want to talk to you about with your new album. But I do have to tell you this story. When I got my first radio job ever, it was in the same building as a country station. And I remember one night going in there on one of my first days of work, and Airwaves was playing. And I was like, this is the best song I've ever heard in my life. And I was trying. So I went on Apple Music and I typed in Airwaves, and I got it, downloaded it. And then I got into my car, and it was some weird like space EDM song called Airwaves. And I was like, this is not the song. And I literally tuned into that radio station and I listened to it until that song came on again, so that I could write it down and download it. So it's cool that you're still like paying homage to that song in your new songs because it's such a good song. But That's Just You is such a good track. We loved it. It's just so sweet. Like it just got.
Thank you.
Anybody ever said that about me, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm never gonna be the same. But the Cadillac Ranch.
7 questions in one question, by the way.
That was more speaking.
Yeah.
And the Cadillac Ranch. It's just the fact that that's on there. I cannot even imagine what the crowds are gonna be like when you perform that.
Well, I want to say a giant thank you to Calgary and to Cowboys. When we played there last summer, I just felt like I wanted to do a great country line dance song. And I looked at the band, and we've played Cadillac Ranch a million times, but I said, let's play Cadillac Ranch. So the kick drum goes boom, boom, ba da 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 da. And like the crowd, we got 10,000 people that are doing the Cadillac Ranch. And the song is over, and I look at my band, and I'm like, this was amazing. After the show, we're having a drink backstage in the trailers at Cowboys, and I said, we have to record this song. And we were all like, yep. And we tried to really bring in that energy when we went into the studio, and we did it. And it's thanks to Cowboys. It's thanks to all of the great memories that I've had in the West, especially because the Cadillac Ranch isn't as big in Toronto as it is in Calgary. Cadillac Ranch isn't as big in Charlottetown as it is in Edmonton. So because of that, I believe that this is just like, if you've been to a small town wedding in Alberta, you did the Cadillac Ranch 3 times. You did it at 9, then you did it at 11, then you did it at 2 in the morning. So for me, it's like, if you know how important this song is to Alberta. And I love that we were able to record it.
But did you grow up? So you and I grew up in the same province, obviously. Josie didn't. So she doesn't have the recollection of having to do that in gym class. And then when you go to the bar, you're like, thank God I went to gym. So you had that moment, right? You know the steps.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I remember, Madame Babin, she was my teacher, and we did that. And so the Cadillac Ranch, and I just loved it. I loved it from that moment. And it wasn't until, and I regret saying this, but it wasn't until I was recording the song, and then you have to, get all the rights and the royalties organized when you record a song. I had no idea, you guys, that Bruce Springsteen wrote this song. That it was his hit first in like 1982 or whatever. And then Nitty Gritty Dirt Band covered it. I always thought it was a Nitty Gritty Dirt Band song. And then, so I did it more in like the nitty gritty way, but I really rocked it up. And when I was saying like about smoking darts and drinking whiskey before we went in and did the West album, this was the final song that we did for the South album in the studio at OCL in Chestermere, just down the road. And I told the guys, we all took a break. We all had a drink. We all went back into the studio, and it was about midnight. And I said, how would we play Cadillac Ranch if this was midnight at Cowboys or midnight at Whiskey Rose or midnight at Ranchman's? How would we play this song? And so we did that. We hyped it up. We didn't try to make it perfect. We tried to make it rockin'. So if anybody hasn't heard our version of it, I love it. So
we'll get in on this. We've taken way too much of your time. You're probably over your next interview, which we apologize for. But just give us a thought, give us a line, give us a feeling of Never Have I Ever and having that on our radio station. And
well, I listen to Country 105 a lot, and I listen online, and I love your morning show. I really do. I always have, and I always will. And I think that you guys are so positive in the morning. It could be 5:30 in the morning or 6:30 or 7:30, and you find a way to make that sometimes terrible commute on the Deerfoot so special for people because it's so energetic and it's so entertaining. And so Never Have I Ever is a song that talks about the good old days. Josie, you've experienced them. Gregg, you've experienced them. This is the time where we used to stay up till 6 in the morning, partying our faces off, and we had no care in the world about what was coming up next, because all we were doing was living in the moment. Never Have I Ever talks about that time in my life and our lives of how much fun it was back in the good old days. So Never Have I Ever is catchy, it's fun, and it just reminisces about some of the best times of my life.
Yeah. All right, buddy. We appreciate you. Congrats on the awesome new album and being #1, and we'll hopefully see you in person soon.
I hope so, very, very soon. Thank you both. See you later, guys.